Hello, this is Melina with How's Your Mental Health with Melina and Beth, and I am Melina. As you can see, we don't have Beth with us today. She is under the weather, so I asked my good friend Lisa to join us. Lisa, unlike Beth and I, is a mental health professional. I will reiterate, I am not, so don't go from there. If you are triggered by anything that you hear, please, above all else, take care of yourself. Shut the computer, whatever you have this on, off. You call your mental health uh, company in your area. You can call the suicide prevention hotline if you're feeling really unsafe. And you can also call 911. And as Lisa had told me last week, make sure that you let them know it's for a mental health reason. Different things have gotten started so that they might be able to help you a little bit better. So, Lisa, as I always do with Beth, I always start by asking how you doing this week.
I'm doing good. Been just really busy.
So, this week's topic is forgiveness, admitting your mistakes and forgiving yourself. If you look it up on YouTube, it'll be under admit and forgive. Okay? We all make them. I mean, I don't know a person that has not made a mistake. And if they say they haven't, they're full of you know what. So we're going to go right into this here. I have some things here, and normally I would be the one doing all the talking, but seeing as we got a mental health professional, I'm going to let her do a lot of the talking. So the first thing that I'm doing is how to learn from your mistakes. And it is from the mindtools.com. Okay, let's see here. The first thing is own your mistakes. Lisa, take it away.
Well, so I think all of this it all coincides. As a leader and as a human, we make mistakes. There's, like you said, there's not a person in this whole world that does not make mistakes. And I actually, in my own personal life and in my professional life, if I go a week and I haven't noticed that I've made a mistake, I start asking myself, I'm slacking somewhere, because that means I'm not giving my full potential.
How can you go a week without making a mistake? Give me your secret.
Because I'm not giving my full potential, because I'm staying in my safe zone where things that I know. And it's not necessarily that I'm not making a mistake. It's that I don't realize that I'm making a mistake. But, owning your mistakes is part of being a leader. It's part of being a human. It's part of the growth process. Mistakes are there for us to learn. If you think about a toddler, when they start crawling and walking, they fall a lot because they're making mistakes, because their balance isn't correct. But when they start, they fall down, they get right back up, and then they start mastering it. And so they own their mistakes. They see where they're making the mistake, they fix it, whatever the case is. If you give a kid a piece of candy in a little container, they're going to figure out how to get into it. And I apologize for my dog.
It's all right.
He obviously thinks that there's something at the door. There's not. So I really think it's important to own your mistakes and just to humble yourself and realize that, like, everybody does it.
Mm-hmm.
And the way that you do that is you just say, you know what, I messed up. I've said that a lot. I say it to my kids. I've said it in my marriage. I've said it in my career. I've said it to clients, like, I messed up, or, that, or saying, I don't know. It's okay to say, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So,
oh yeah,
that's how I feel about owning your mistakes.
All right, reframe the error.
So it's that reframing the error is just what it sounds like. So instead of saying, oh crap, I'm so stupid, I forgot the cheese at the store, I'm such an idiot, you say, oh, well, I forgot the cheese at the store, so I guess we're not going to have mac and cheese tonight. We'll just have macaroni and tomatoes or something else. You know what I mean? Like, reframing it and taking it from a negative to a positive. So maybe you say, well, I forgot the cheese. That means I get to go back to the store and I can get myself a treat when I go. or, 10 more minutes of me time, I get to go back to the store. Or if you're married and, you want your husband to go, you say, hey, honey, guess what? You get to go to the store because I forgot the cheese or something like that. But reframing
You
it
wouldn't
into a
do that to
positive.
yours, would you?
Oh, all the time. Absolutely. Yeah. I'm like, honey, guess what? You get to go out of the house today. He's like, I've been out of the house all day.
All
So,
right.
yeah.
Analyze your mistake.
So I don't want people to take this too seriously as far as analyzing their mistakes. I think that it is important to review the things that we've done, especially that, work wise or a goal that we have. So if our goal is to walk 10,000 steps a day, and for some reason we're only getting in 8,000, and we're reviewing it, like, what am I doing? What could I be doing differently? What could I change? What could give me, and it's just that simple. But not looking at it and saying, oh my gosh, what did I do wrong? How am I going to fix this? And thinking of it negatively,
Now
you think of it very
me all too
lightly.
well.
Right.
And you know that word analyze is
Yes.
in my
And I
vocabulary.
really don't like that word, because that's not the way it should be. You should review. If you make a mistake, you should review for sure. Just to see what you can change, and then actually change it and see if there's a different outcome. It's kind of like a scientific project, but you're applying it to your life.
Because when I analyze my mistakes, it's not a good thing. So I highly wouldn't recommend it.
Well, you're not supposed to think of it from a negative perspective.
Well, mistakes shouldn't be thought of as a negative anyway, because, as you said, another thing is you have to make mistakes in order to grow. You have to make mistakes in order to learn a lesson, whether it's a good lesson or a lesson that you could have done without, but you had to go through it anyway in order to be a better person. It is what it is. So, all right, put lessons learned into practice.
Yes.
This is an easier one that's said than done sometimes.
And I was just thinking about a situation where, somebody had come to me. They kept feeling like they were attracted to the wrong type of people. Like every time that they got into a relationship, it was with somebody who was toxic. And I was like, well, you're not learning. So you're going to be in that same relationship. It might be a different person, but it's going to be the same relationship. And so in that aspect, I said, analyze yourself. Try to figure out what it is about yourself that attracts them. And what I mean by that is, I told them, go make a commitment to yourself, go 6 months, no relationship. But every person that you feel attracted to, make a pros and cons list, and then see what the common factors are in the cons list of them. So are they constantly without a job? Are they constantly, cussing or tattooed, or do they cheat a lot, or whatever the situation is? And, get as much information as you can. Sometimes you can't. Sometimes you just think somebody's really good looking or whatever. But, do that, and then figure out what it is about you. Who else in your life maybe is like that. And then, but there's a ton of different ways that you can do it. But it's very important to make sure that when you learn a mistake, you don't go back and repeat it purposefully. So if you're learning how to drive a car and, you hit the brakes too hard, you're going to use a lot less pressure the next time you hit the brakes. You're not going to keep like slamming them on, because you're learning from your mistakes when you do that, because it's jolting you. And that's how you should think about all of your mistakes. Any mistake that you make, no matter how little, no matter how big, you think about it like that. You take it and you put it into practice. And what that just looks like is maybe next time you hit the brakes a little bit softer.
Well, I know for me, I knew I made mistakes. I made them all the time. But I didn't know what I was supposed to learn from my mistakes. And now that I look back, the one common variable is that I didn't advocate for myself, you know, and that's the mistake that I stopped making. I will now advocate for myself. In fact, I had one of my mental health workers here on Friday, and he says that's something that he likes about me because I do advocate for myself. And if I was to stop advocating for myself because I do it so often, he would think something was wrong.
Yeah.
So, but you knew me when I wouldn't advocate for myself. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it's a big difference.
There is a big difference.
I mean, I really, and that is, I think, one of the biggest things that I have learned over the past several years is that we all have that right to advocate for ourselves, no matter what the tiniest, simplest thing is or how big it is. You know, we all have
We have
that
that
right.
responsibility to ourselves.
So, the next one is review your progress.
So yeah, you can just look back and say, you know, over this past year, I started out this year and I wouldn't advocate for myself and I wouldn't speak up. And, you know, I continue to make the same mistakes, even though I knew there was something that I was doing wrong. But now I advocate for myself every single day. I have my own house. I have a job. I have a car. That's what it means by
Yeah.
review it. Like, just
Well,
look how far you've come.
I have a suggestion, and it literally just popped into my head. Every so often, I'll write a letter to myself, and I'll put where I'm at that particular time.
Yeah.
And then, like as Lisa said, maybe at the beginning of the year, you write a letter to yourself where you're at right then and there. And then, say in July or June, 6 months, you look back. Has anything changed? Have I grown any from that? And if you haven't, then you need to look back and see why. So,
Yeah.
all right, there goes that one. Now, I got some quotes. You know, I'm all about quotes. Let's see here.
Did that come from me?
No, it was my
Okay.
mouse. I have a
I was like,
wireless
because,
mouse.
you know, because I used to do quotes all the time.
Oh, you thought that's yes, it did. It came from the program we were involved in.
Okay.
Yes.
I was wondering.
Yes, that's where my love of quotes came from. You are correct.
Well, quotes are good. They help you remember things.
This here, I liked it because, I mean, you can read only what you want into it, you know. You do not learn anything by doing everything right. And I think we have already touched on that. We both believe, and I know Beth would irradiate, whatever that word is,
Reiterate.
with me, that you're not human if you don't make a mistake.
I agree. That's very true.
So, but the thing is that, as we've already stated again, you have to learn from it. You know, I mean, it's okay to make them. It's not okay to not take any lessons away from them.
Very true.
And I'm going to get your opinion on this one. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Be afraid of not learning from them.
Yeah. I think that's a good thing because and I wish that quotes could be like a little bit longer and kind of explain why. Because
There's some that do.
You know, mistakes help us learn in this life, and they help us create a healthy self-compassion, because we can be very difficult on ourselves, and a lot of us are our own worst critics. But when we're able to make mistakes and humble ourselves and say, I've made a mistake, it gives us compassion for ourselves and it gives us compassion for others.
Mm-hmm.
When we make mistakes and we're able to admit it, then we are less likely to fear talk, or to talk down about ourselves, but like saying, I'm so stupid. I can't believe I've done this. Nobody will ever love me, stuff like that. It also helps boost your motivation, because if you know, like, hey, I made this mistake, but I know that I'm capable of this outcome, you're going to, with that positive self-talk, you're going to continue to strive. And then it's going to boost your motivation. It's going to boost your ego, and you're going to try harder and you're going to do better. It takes us from a closed mindset to an open mindset, which is very, very, very important. So when you have a closed mindset, you think it's either black or white. There's no gray, there's no blue, there's no red, there's no green, there's no yellow. It's just black or white. Either you like it or you don't. Either you want it or you don't, whatever. And there's no in between. And it's all in between. Mm-hmm. It's very rarely black and white. But it gives us a chance to expand and it gives us a chance to expand our mind. And it allows us to experiment. When we say, oh, you know what? I probably shouldn't have planted that corn that close together. So maybe next year I'll spread it out a little bit more, and you experiment. Or maybe my lettuce shouldn't be right next to my corn because they're vying for the same nutrients or whatever the case is. But I think that mistakes are good, and they're very helpful, and they're a blessing, and they're a very vital part of success and leadership. So if you think of yourself as any kind of a leader in any way, shape, or form, or successful in any way, shape, or form, you have to be able to admit your mistakes.
But a leader doesn't always mean in a job situation. I mean, a big sister, a big brother,
correct,
yes. Older nephew or whatever. I mean,
the friend in the friend group that everybody comes to.
Yeah.
For advice. That's a leader, a cashier. And it could be a cashier in a grocery store that, always does the right thing and always admits their mistakes, and they're able to help other people, and they're willing to help other people. Like a new coworker doesn't really know what they're doing. And so they're like, okay, let me come help you. Excuse me. That's a leader. It could be, somebody who takes charge in a situation where nobody else can or nobody else will.
Mm-hmm.
Those are all forms of leaders.
Okay. My next one. Now, we've talked about admitting our mistakes. Now we're going to go into forgiving ourselves for the mistakes that we have made. Okay? Because I know for me, there are some things in my past, and I have already mentioned it to everyone who has been following. My boys and I got separated when I was younger, and I know I had done some things that contributed to it that I could have not done. And I had to forgive myself for those mistakes, not for what other people's contributions to, but for my own, because the whole situation was not a perfect one-sided type deal. And I had to forgive myself. And if I didn't forgive myself, I would still be beating myself up about it. And I'll admit, some days, some months are better than others. But we can't, as this here puts out, beat ourselves up. It says being gentle means forgiving yourself when you mess up. We should learn from our mistakes, but we shouldn't beat the tar out of ourselves over them. The past is just that, past. Learn what went wrong and why. Make amends if you need to, then drop it and move on. And we can't, it's just like if we forgive ourselves for something and then we pick that bag back up, then we really didn't forgive ourselves. So we need to just kind of, in essence, let it go. Any input?
So for the most part, people that make mistakes in life don't really have a reason to forgive themselves. In situations like yours, I think that the important part is that you took responsibility for your part in that. You were able to face it and say, this is what I've done. At the time you didn't know any better, and nobody was there to help you. Even the people who knew better And they should be the ones that are trying to forgive themselves because they knew better and they took advantage of you. Instead of trying to help you, they manipulated you. And you couldn't help that. And you couldn't help what you didn't know, but you know better now.
Mm-hmm.
And if it was the same, situation right now, it would not go the way that it was. It did.
Oh, no.
But I think part of where you went wrong was that you suppressed your emotions for so long about it, and you never allowed yourself to feel it until recently. And so it feels like it's still fresh.
Mm-hmm.
But you also have to remember, none of us are perfect. There's not one person on this earth that's perfect.
Oh, yeah.
In any way, shape, or form. We all make mistakes. And then just, embracing it and understanding that as a parent, we all make mistakes. I've made mistakes as a parent. My parents did. but and if you can repair the damage, like, going to therapy with your kids or at least apologizing, then that's wonderful. But sometimes we don't have that responsibility or we don't have that opportunity because they don't give it to us.
Right.
But that's when you have to understand that it's no longer in your hands.
Oh,
Once you have apologized or attempted to apologize and you took responsibility, I'm so sorry. I do not know why I'm so tired. But once you've taken responsibility, and you have apologized, the only thing left to do is move forward. Mm-hmm. And just like you said, you can't put that bag down by apologizing and saying, I'm sorry, I didn't know any better. I would like to try to make it up to you. Can we figure out how we can fix this?
You can't do it
and move forward. And then whether they say yes or no, you pick that bag up and carry it with you even more.
Yeah.
That's not how you do that.
No.
You have to focus on you and move forward and forgive yourself and just understand that it happens.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's see. And here's the last one. Free yourself from your past mistakes by forgiving yourself what you have done or went through. Every day is another chance to start over. And I've talked about how I feel about starting over, how it doesn't have to be just in the beginning of the day where you wake up. If you have a bad 2 hours first thing in the morning, those 2 hours are past. Now you move forward and start again. You have a bad morning. Well, it's the afternoon. You can go forward from starting over right there. It does not have to be right when you wake up in the morning. I mean, you can start over anytime you want to throughout the day. So, and
you can. And the crazy thing is, Melina, is that at any point in time during the day or during the week or during the month or during the year, you can decide that you want to dress differently and totally revamp the way that you dress. So maybe if you were, conservative, maybe you feel like you want to dress gothy. You want to wear all black and dark black eyeliner. And that's okay. If you want to experiment with different makeup.
You could see it. You could see it. You could
well, but what I'm saying is you can always change.
Yeah.
You have that opportunity. You can dress however you want. You can experiment.
It's up to you how we perceive others to see us.
Yes.
I mean that's how it is.
I'll tell you something that somebody told me a couple of years ago, and it stuck with me. It was a colleague, and she said she was wearing something, and I said to her, I was like, "Aren't you worried about like what people are going to say about what you're wearing?" And she was like, "Other people's opinions of me is none of my business." And I was like, "What?" And she was like, "If I take on their thoughts and their judgments, then if I entertain what they're saying, then I'm taking that on and I'm wearing that pressure, and that's not who I am. If I'm comfortable in this, then this is what I'm wearing. Mm-hmm. As long as there's nothing, I'm not violating any rules." In which she wasn't. But she was like, if I'm comfortable in this is what I'm wearing, and I don't care what people think. I don't care what they think about my makeup. I don't care what they think about my clothes. I don't care what they think about my shoes or whatever. what they think about me is none of my business. And I was like, huh,
Heavy rain has
I
been
guess that
detected
makes a little bit of
near your
sense.
location.
Now I had heard something recently, sort of similar to that. If you're not willing to take advice from a person, don't take their criticism.
Mhm.
Okay.
I've heard that too.
And I absolutely love that little quote that he gave me. You know, it helped me through the situation I was going through at that time, and it's just stuck with me. You know, and it makes sense.
It
And
does.
I've actually shared that quote with Beth, and she actually used it a couple days ago. So, all right, now for the fun part, Lisa.
All right.
Now, those of you who watched last week and the week before, I have started asking some fun questions at the end so that we can have some, because some of the topics we talk about are kind of stressful, and this here helps us to wind down a little bit. And I'm just putting these numbers at the bottom of the screen, so in case you are feeling unsafe, you can reach out to the National Mental Health Hotline or the National Suicide Prevention Hotline. And we will go from that. I'll let these numbers run for you. And Lisa, what I've got, and you're not allowed to see that, so I have to take that.
I can't see it.
Besides, I want to see your pretty face.
I can't see it anyways.
All right. These here are, and now I have asked like, would you rather questions and if you could questions, stuff like that. And these here are just funny, get to know you questions. Okay. Are you ready?
Sure.
Would you rather trade some intelligence for looks or looks for intelligence?
Looks for intelligence.
Same here. Because
looks fade.
That's exactly what I was saying.
But your intelligence really normally will stay there.
Yeah, that was exactly where my mind went. If everything in your house had to be one color, what color would you choose? I already know mine, and anybody who's been watching would know it too.
Red.
Red. Well, you like red and black, so.
Yeah.
Well, mine would definitely be purple. Different shades of purple, but purple.
Yeah.
All right. What animal would be the most terrifying if it could speak? And I'm going to start on this one because I would think Rocky would be the most terrifying because he could tell some tales on me.
I don't know. I would think maybe an elephant.
Really?
I feel like an elephant's voice would have so much bass in it that if you were within any kind of like close proximity to it, that it might blow you away like a speaker.
Well,
and I could be wrong. I often am.
Just a bit off the subject when you mentioned elephants. I was at a friend's house watching TV with them, and they were doing a trivia thing on there. And one of the questions was, who has the longest gestational period? Elephants, rhinoceroses, hippopotamus, or zebras? And I knew it right off the bat.
What is it?
Elephants. They carry their young for 2 years.
Oh, no. Oh, no. No.
I've known that thing. It's just some random trivia that I just picked up somewhere. I don't know where, but somewhere.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
And then once the baby's born, because elephants have to keep moving to find fresh grass, that infant has to keep moving. Yeah. Would you rather have unlimited sushi for life or unlimited tacos for life? I'd go with the tacos. I don't want to eat no raw fish.
Yeah, I wouldn't do sushi, but tacos for sure.
Yeah. If you had a warning label, what would yours say? I'm going to give you yours, and then you can give me mine. Okay?
Okay.
may look sweet, but watch out.
um, yours would probably say, caution, may spontaneously combust.
And then what? Flames or laughter?
But either way, I mean, it depends on who it is that's talking to you. If you're angry, it's going to be flames.
I was angry a couple weeks ago, and I was cussing. I was using the F-bomb. I was crying, and it was like, that called me because I cussed in a text to her. I used the F word in a text to her, and she called me. She's like, hello? I'm trying to call you. Because I don't do that unless I'm angry.
Right. Yeah.
Would you rather go 30 days without your phone or an entire life without dessert?
30 days without my phone. I mean, I feel like I could do 30 days without my phone. Sometimes I want to do 30 days without my phone. I have 2 of them that I carry, and I don't like it when I put them both on silent sometimes. Like, do not disturb and silent.
Well, for me, I don't like the idea of being without my phone. And if I didn't have dessert, maybe I'd lose some weight. So,
Nah. I like dessert. My dessert preference has
depends on what
changed.
you consider dessert. You know.
Well, that's what I was saying. Like, my dessert preferences have changed. So, periodically, I'll have some tiramisu, but most of the time my dessert is like frozen yogurt, or I'll make a smoothie at home, or it'll be like a pudding cup with some strawberries in it or something like that. It's, instead of like a half a piece of cake or a half of a cake or ice cream.
Well, I went to the store with Beth today, and I was like, I want some ice cream cake, but it's so dang expensive. She was like, you should have had the sample that we were at Sam's. I'm like, but that's not ice cream cake. That was just regular cake.
I found so when I was a kid, they used to have on the ice cream truck these Mickey Mouse ice creams.
Oh,
and
yeah.
his ears were made out of chocolate ice cream, and the rest of his face was made out of vanilla. Mm-hmm. And there was no like chocolate on it. And so I was craving that taste for some reason not too long ago. And I kept saying, like, I need a Mickey Mouse ice cream. And my husband went everywhere, like, looking for them. And he found some, but they didn't taste like I remembered. So then, like, a couple of weeks after that, my son was like, can we get this? And it was like a little, like a roll log that you get from, like, Food Lion in the ice cream section. And it was ice cream. Mm-hmm. And I was like, yeah. And it was chocolate and vanilla. Mm-hmm. And so we got it, and we got home, and he was like, oh, this tastes good. You got to taste it. So I tasted it, and it tasted exactly like the Mickey Mouse. And I was like, oh my God. And so I don't like to admit this, but I ate the whole thing. And then I went back and got him another one because I was like, oh my God. And my husband was like, did you seriously eat that whole thing? I was like, shut your pie hole. And if you say anything else, we're going to fight. He was like, I'm not saying anything about it. I was just like, I can't believe you ate it. I was like, I can't believe I ate it, but it was so good. And it was but I mean, it wasn't really a whole lot, but it was a lot for me.
For one person.
Sitting.
Yes.
Yes.
One sitting?
It was great. Huh?
One sitting?
One sitting. Yeah. Well, what I did was I kept cutting pieces off, and I was watching a movie. And so I'd keep cutting pieces off. And then I went back and I was like, there's no more ice cream. Oh my God. What is going on? But it was so good. But I did refrain from buying another one. I bought my son a second one. But I didn't buy any more after that because I was like, this could be very dangerous.
Yeah. Would you rather be the best player on a horrible team or the worst player on a great team?
Ooh. That's tough. Because I don't like being the center of attention. But I also do not like, I don't want to be the worst player on the team.
Well, see.
But if I had to choose, I would say I'd rather be the worst player on the best team. It doesn't mean I'm a bad player. Yeah, it doesn't mean I'm a bad player. It just means that I'm not the best player, which is okay.
I've been the worst player and the best. I mean, literally the worst player because I can't hit a ball for nothing. I can't catch a ball for nothing. So, and I can't dribble a ball for nothing. Can't shoot a ball for nothing. So, and I can't. And we played bat-based softball for the girls, and basketball, and football. The girls had to play flag football. But I couldn't even do that because I couldn't figure out what in the world a scrimmage was or nothing like. I had no clue. And then we had to do the one thing I was good at was cross country skiing and square dancing and line dancing because we did those in gym class as well.
You got some people beat.
Of course, I've done square dancing since I was knee-high to a grasshopper. So that was pretty simple for me. I already knew what all those sayings were. All right. Oh, wow. If one animal was made the size of an elephant, which would be the scariest? And I already know my answer. Because I hate these.
Maybe a wasp. What if a wasp was as big as an elephant?
I was thinking of a snake.
Oh. But it wouldn't move very fast. I don't think.
Yeah, but they can strike within so many feet, though.
True.
See,
yeah,
a wasp has to land on you. And if it's as big as an elephant,
not necessarily. Not necessarily. If it was as big as an elephant and it flew, could you imagine like how big its stingers would be?
Well, could you imagine how much blood it would, or I was thinking of a mosquito, but how much blood it would suck out? You'd be dead if it was that big.
If a mosquito was that big, yeah, for sure, for sure.
But I'm allergic to wasps, so I'd be dead.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry if this makes any of my viewers angry, but I feel the only good snake is a dead snake. So that's why I chose snakes.
Well, there are some good snakes that eat
no, there's not.
Mice and stuff like that, but I know they're scary.
Because my friend had sent me a text with a picture of a black snake. I mean, this thing was huge in her lawn, and I'm like, if it was, and she named it. She named the darn thing because she says it'll keep mice out of her house. I'm like, that's what you got cats for. She says the cats will get it if it's in the house, but the snake gets it before it gets in the house. I'm like, I'd leave it up to the cats. All right. Oh, wow. This is a good one. Who or where would you haunt if you were a ghost? I'd have to haunt Beth just to drive her nuts some more.
I would probably haunt my kids.
Just to drive them nuts some more?
Yeah, because I put up with it for 18 years and some of them a little bit longer than that. So yeah, I love my kids.
All right, let's see here. If you were reincarnated as a famous landmark, which would it be? I'd want either Old Faithful or Old Geyser, so when people got too close, I could sprue up out of them.
I don't really know. I don't think I have an answer for that question.
Okay. All right. Which celebrity chef would you most like to make you dinner? I don't know any celebrity chefs, so. Except for that one that likes to cuss at people. I don't know what his name
Gordon Ramsay?
Yeah.
I would say Uh, I don't remember her name, but there's a lady that I used to watch on the cooking channel that I think her name was Gia. I want to say her name was Gia, but she made the best foods. It looked so good. But the only thing is that her food, it didn't look like it was enough. It looked so good. And I was like, you'll have to make 3 of those for me because it was just little portions. So, but yeah, she looked like she made some really good food.
All right. If you could only eat one food for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Pizza.
I'm torn.
Why?
Because there's 2, but there's only one that I've been craving for the last like 3 or 4 months, and that's like French fries or tater tots. And that's literally all I want to eat.
So potatoes would be yours.
Hi. How much would someone have to pay you to eat a live spider? There's not enough money in the world.
Yeah.
I
don't know.
I don't do dead spiders. Why would I do a live one?
No.
What would be the worst movie sequel ever made?
You know, I mean, I feel like there's a couple of these. I feel like they've worn out Batman, and I feel like they worn out Spider-Man, and I feel like they've worn out Fast and the Furious. So all of them, I feel like, are horrible sequels. They just continue to make them, and they continue to be crappy.
See, I've only seen one thing of Batman, and that was, what was it? The Dark Knight also rises, or something like that. It's with the guy when half his face was blown off. So, and that's not the main thing that I remember of it. So, but I've only seen one of those. But I would think, like, you know, the Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, and then Honey, I Blew Up the Kids, and then all those series. Yes. You know, once they did Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, it was enough. You know, they didn't have to do any more.
Yes, I agree with that.
If you joined the circus, what would your circus act be? I'd be a clown, of course.
I would be a trapeze artist. And I say that, but I'm scared to death of heights, and I won't even go up on this. Like we went to this place in Atlanta called the Main Event, and they have a ropes course, and everybody else, I was with like 5 other people, everybody else went on the ropes course, and I was frozen with fear, and I could not move. And they're like, it's okay, come on. And I was like, I can't. And I've never been like that type of person, but I literally could not move. I froze. And I was like, so this is how this feels. I've never experienced this before. And then the guy said, I'll take you back down the normal way. And I was like, yes, because I'm a crybaby. Thank you.
Now, see, something that I have always wanted to try, and that's zip lining. Terrified of heights, but I want a zip line.
I want to, but I've tried, and I get right up there, and I cannot.
Well, see, I have been across the Grandfather Mountain Bridge. You know.
Yeah, I won't even do that.
And when I got across to the other side, I got as high up as I could get on the rocks, and then I just looked out. I mean, it was gorgeous. I've got pictures. It was gorgeous, but I am terrified of heights. But it's one of those things that I won't let my fear override what I want to do. So
you'll have to teach me that trick.
Zip lining and parachuting are 2 things that I want to try before I kick the bucket. And Beth is like, why would you want to jump out of a perfectly good airplane?
You know, they have these places called iFly, and I will do that. And I actually do want to do that. It's kind of like so there's this huge fan underneath you, and you're in like a wingsuit, and they turn on this huge fan underneath you, and it puts you up in the air, and it makes you feel like you would if you were diving from an airplane, but you're safe.
No, you can't.
So I would do that.
You can't get.
I would do that.
I want to feel that free fall. and
No,
just,
I'm good.
as Beth says, why would I want to jump out of a perfectly good airplane? She thinks I'm nuts.
I would have to agree.
You agree, huh?
I do.
Have you ever worn clothing with the labels, tags still attached? Without knowingly, yes.
I don't think I have.
I mean, without knowing I did, yes. Would you rather be the most popular kid in school or the smartest kid in school? Why can't you be both?
Well, I think you can be both, but I would rather be the smartest.
Yeah, I do too. Popularity fades, you know?
It does.
I mean, it's just.
It doesn't mean anything after high school.
No. Okay. Do you have any superstitions?
I do.
That depends on what you call a superstition.
Well, I guess
I
you got a
don't
point with that.
believe the salt thing. If you spill salt, you got to throw it over your shoulder or whatever. I don't believe in that. I don't. Oh, what are some of the other superstitions that I've seen? The black cat thing, the ladder thing. I don't believe in any of that. I do, and I don't know if it's considered a superstition or just something, but I was raised that if it's sunshine and rain, it means it's going to rain the next day. So, now that I do believe, but I don't know. That's not a superstition, but I don't think I have any superstitions. If I do, I'm not aware of them. Let's put it that way. What's the worst pickup line you've ever heard dished out?
So I've got this one. So when I was in my 20s, I bartended like for most of my 20s. And this guy would come in all the time and sit at the bar and he'd order a drink and I'd serve him and he was always nice. And then one day I was just like, why do you come in here every single day? You order the drink, you sip it, then you leave, and then you come back the next day, you do the same thing. And he was like, well, because I'm trying to get to know you, blah, blah, whatever. And I was like, so we were talking one time and he said, and I asked him, I was like, if you could be anything in the world, what would you be? And he was like, that's a great question. And I was like, okay. I was trying to figure out if he was intellectual. And he was like, if I could be anything, I would be a teardrop. Born in your eye, live on your cheek, and die by your lips. And he said it with a straight face. And I was like, I really no. I was like, bye. You got to go.
Yeah, definitely.
You can't be here. I was like, you can't be here. But that was the cheesiest thing I've ever heard, ever. And I've heard some cheesy pickup lines.
For me, if you start out a sentence or anywhere in the sentence has the word sugar or baby, that's it. Because I ain't nobody's sugar and I ain't nobody's baby.
Well, if you're in the South, you are.
Nope, I'm not.
I hear it all the time. All the time, I tell you.
All right, just a couple more.
Wow. Is it that bad?
If you were a man for a day, what's the first thing you do?
I don't know that we have that kind of yeah.
Yeah.
I plead the fifth and I choose to not answer that.
Same here.
I've had this conversation before and I would not be a good man.
What is the weirdest thing you find attractive in a person? The weirdest?
I mean, I guess it depends on what you figure is
That's
weird.
what I was just thinking.
Because, I mean, I don't know. That could be just really anything.
You ready? I'll let you answer this next one.
Okay.
What's the cheesiest song you have memorized?
Is there a list of cheesy songs?
Because I can't think of any cheesy songs.
I mean, Barney's.
Well,
because I
yeah,
have kids. So
those
I
are
have that memorized.
well,
Other than that,
those
I
are
don't
for
know.
kids. Those are for kids, though. I mean, as
Yeah,
an
I don't.
adult, you know anything?
I don't know because I think I got pretty good taste in music. I don't know.
If you got stuck in an elevator and were forced to listen to one song, what would it be?
Oh, jeez.
Is there a sound that's like "Be Free" or something, or whatever? Because that's what I would want. Be free.
It depends on how long I was stuck in there. If it wasn't too long, I can absolutely handle. It's called. Give me a minute. Let me look it up on my thing. Hold on.
I know what I was thinking. "Born to Be Free." Isn't that a song?
I think so.
Yeah. But I wouldn't be listening to it anyway because I'd be passed out. It's one of my fears is being stuck in an elevator. I don't like closed spaces.
I cannot remember the name of that song. It's playing in my head, and I can't remember the name of the song. But it's an old song. It's like from the 50s. It's from Johnny and Santo. Let me see if I can figure out which one it is. What it's called. Oops. Sleepwalk. That's what it's called.
Okay. What do you
It's
huh?
I was just gonna say it's a really good song.
Oh. I don't know what. What do you think is the most unpleasant sounding word?
Moist.
I had somebody else say that.
I can't stand
I
that
don't
word.
understand why.
I don't know. I
don't
can't
understand
stand
why.
that word.
And
It
see,
just
I
irritates
can't
me.
think of any unpleasant sounding word. I honestly don't because I like words. So, well, everybody, this is Lisa. We need to thank her for, and I'm losing. Where am I? Where am I? There we are. We need to thank her. When you send your comments, remember to thank Lisa for guest appearing on How's Your Mental Health with Melina and Beth. And I thank you for filling in for Beth, Lisa. I enjoyed it.
You're welcome.
Of course, you and I don't get together very much because we live too far apart, but it was nice seeing you. Okay.
Yes.
All right, everybody, remember, if you've been triggered by anything, please, please, please contact a mental health facility near you. If you're feeling unsafe, contact suicide prevention hotline or 911. And remember, if you call 911, to tell the dispatcher that it is for a mental health reason, and they can take different avenues to help you out. Our subject today was admitting and forgiving yourself for wrongs that you may have done. So please take care of yourself, everybody.